All right, we are live. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well today. I'm looking forward to sharing this live with you today. It's kind of evolved as I've been sitting with the topic, and so yeah, looking forward to diving in on this one with you guys. It's going to change one setting here on my side, and then we will dive in. Okay, here we go. So, today we're going to be talking about becoming a proactive leader in your relationship. So, uh, what I have found in many of the conversations I've had as of late, but I would say really many conversations over the years, is that for men in relationships, that there is often this feeling of passivity or sort of going with the flow that can really create issues in the relationship. Um, a couple of the things that I will just point to, as places to notice, notice for yourself as well, is that if you find yourself having a desire to bring up something in a conversation, or there's a place where you're wanting to get your needs met, and you find that you're having to strategize when to have that conversation. Maybe you're fearful of having that conversation, so you end up texting your partner or writing a letter, those types of things, as opposed to actually being in the conversation with your partner. Or often that you're waiting for your partner to go first, that um, instead of actually leading, you're being reactive. How whatever your partner sort of determines is the way things go, or if your partner is setting the direction, that's where you get to follow. These are places worth reflecting on, because um, what I've noticed, well, one is like the impact on the man, where this dynamic is occurring. It can be stressful. It can be anxiety filled. It can really create this dynamic where um, there's pressure, and it just this constant feeling of like uh, yeah, this just constant feeling of strategizing, trying to figure our partners out, sort of keeping the peace, so to speak. And that can be really difficult. And, especially as I've been talking to men as of late who maybe are potentially in situations where divorce is on the table, uh, they're wavering, they don't actually know what they want. This can be a place to really put some focus, because when we can actually lead, when we can actually be proactive in our decisions, it allows us to create this power that really generates through all areas of our life. So again, this is an area that I support a lot of men around, in terms of just showing up more proactively in their relationships and creating steps to have this just become a way of being. And so, if this is something that you're interested in, I'm going to be putting a link in the comments below where you can check out the one-on-one coaching program that I offer, called the Authentic Man. This is a lot of the work that I do in that program, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see what's been created with some of my clients, and potentially I get to share some of that today. So if you're watching this live, feel free to comment. Let me know you're here. And if you have anything that comes up for you as we continue in this conversation, and if you're catching this on the replay, same thing. Please feel free to put in the comments any questions that you have, any insights that you're taking away as we continue this conversation. So the first place that I really want to speak to is that understand that leadership and proactivity is on a continuum. So and this is really a place just to kind of gauge where you're at, is that if you find that when you think of being a leader and proactive in your relationship, that like you are on sort of the end where it's not happening, okay, so we want to start coming back into the middle. If you find that you're on the other end where you're very heavy into the leadership, you're dictating how things go, every movement is controlled by you. Again, an opportunity to sort of come back into the middle. The idea here is that we want to be creating partnership. We want to be coming into equilibrium with each other. And a lot of the guys that I talk to, I would say, are more on this end of things. They're waiting for their partners to make a move. They allow their partners to make the decisions. They are meeting the needs of their partners first before ever getting their needs met. And again, as I spoke to before, there's an impact to that, right? I'm not going to speak more again to those impacts, but it's there. So really, this first place of just connecting to where are you at? If you actually reflect on your life, if you were to look at your life as a continuum of leadership and proactivity in your relationship, where do you lie on that continuum? So that's really like the first place just to sort of get a gauge from, because then you can start to pivot. You can start to move. If I'm on the lower end of this, I can start creating steps to move into the middle and bring that balance, or just that. So that's that first piece that I'll speak to. Second piece that I'll speak to is truly standing for our needs and sharing them in the relationship. So where will I start with this one? I mean, just that in itself. A lot of the men that I talk to, they obviously have wants and needs and desires in their relationship, and it often gets pushed to the side. And notice the impact of that, of having wants, needs, desires in life, and feeling like you're not in a relationship where those can be met. The first place to actually really reflect on is, are you actually expressing them in the relationship? Are you expressing them clearly and confidently that these are the things that you need? My guess is for most folks, probably not. There is, probably a lack of expression. And then the times that it does get expressed is when there's an argument or a fight. And obviously, that's not going to be the best time to express what you need. And so, this is a really important part of being in partnership in your relationship. You're going to be hearing me speak to that a lot. It's a partnership. If there's something that you need and want or desire in a relationship, bring it into the relationship. Again, one of the concepts that gets talked a lot is this idea of covert contracts. Most likely, our partners are not going to be able to figure this out. They're not miracle workers. They can't read your mind. So it's going to be up to you to be proactive and lead and really understand that you have wants and needs and you need to express them. And so that is a part of this leadership. This proactivity is being the man that can actually express these things to their partner. And bonus points is that getting into this space of expression also being a clearing or an opening for the needs and wants that your partner also has. It's a great place to lead and actually call those forward rather than just expecting your partner to bring them into the space. My guess is that if you're here, you are engaged in personal development, you've read some of these books, and maybe your partner hasn't, maybe they have, I don't know. But like being the leader that calls forward the wants, needs, and desires for both individuals in the relationship. So let me know your thoughts on that. Let me know what's coming up for you. Do you find like this is an area of struggle, is to actually express the needs and the wants and the desires that you have? Do you find that like maybe there's a communication gap where you try this and it doesn't seem to like land? Let me know if some of these things show up for you and we can continue in the dialogue around them. Point number three, this is one that I actually see a fair amount, is men who are not engaging their partners in conversation at all, or that's probably not fair. Very little in the things that matter. And so what ends up happening is that they utilize text messaging. Maybe they write a letter. They find sort of these ways to be in communication that is not actually being direct to the source. And so oftentimes, when I speak to men who they're like, oh, I emailed my partner this, or I just sent a text message, or um, I'm going to write a letter. Stop doing that. These are tools of communication, but it's not actually going to be creating the communication that you want. A part of connection and authenticity is being the type of person that can go direct to the source. So again, this kind of builds off that last point. If you have wants, needs, and desires, to be able to express them in person, to be able to get a feel of like, does my partner actually understand the needs and the wants that I have? Do they understand the frustrations that I have? Trying to send that over text message or via email or even through a letter, it's probably not going to have the impact you want. And from my experience too, is that oftentimes we send these things from a very reactive place. Generally, it's going to put our partner on edge. And so, really, just again, if we're talking about being a proactive leader, is that be proactive. Find the time to have these conversations. Um, be a stand that these conversations are going to happen, and that what you need to say is going to be received. It doesn't always mean that it's going to be implemented or put into action right away, but at least you're becoming the type of person that when there's something that comes up for you, you're able to express it. I've been, working with one of my clients on this, and it's been amazing to see the growth that's occurred here from an individual who sort of strategized when conversations would happen with their partner, and trying to find those right moments, to really coming into a place of like, I don't need to do that. I can just, if there's something that I want to bring up, if there's a step forward that I potentially want us to take, I can just bring that into the conversation and we'll go from there. It's a different way of really approaching life. Um, and then last point, and this actually kind of feeds I would say this is sort of 2 points. No, let me be clear. This is two reflections that I'm going to put into one point. And the point is, take action now and set dates and times of commitment. So a lot of the work that I do with folks is around making the next step, creating that commitment. And my experience is that a lot of people really are vague in their commitments, and will also not put a lot of timelines on things. So it'll be like, hey, I'm going to go have that conversation with my wife by the end of the week or soon. uh, I'm gonna take the time to explore my needs and wants. Notice the vagueness in that, right? And that really a part of being a proactive leader is taking the action now. And so, first of all, being clear on what that action is going to be. I'm going to go have a conversation with my wife. I'm going to go take some time to journal out, the wants and needs that I have, and starting to actually put dates to these things. By when? When will you take that action? When will you go have that conversation? After you've had that conversation, what will the follow up be? Notice the masculine energy in that there is a path forward that's being created in those steps. This is a huge part of the work that I do with men, is creating that consistent action, that consistent momentum in our lives to um, take action on the things that we say that we're going to do. And it's such a fun place to actually support around, because there's going to be fear here. There's going to be, you know, turmoil that shows up of like, all these things that I have been unwilling to take action on. Maybe the conversation that I feared, to actually go and have that conversation now, that's scary. And that's a part of this work, is being that proactive leader who stands for that forward movement, as opposed to staying stagnant, staying where you are, and having the dynamic continually play out as is. So, 4 great points in terms of cultivating that proactive leadership in relationships. Uh, I'd love to hear any comments that you have, any questions that come up from this as well. Um, it's such a great topic. Again, it's a place that I really love to support people around. With the clients that I've worked with over the years, we've made massive gains in terms of them stepping into leadership in their relationship from incorporating these points. So let me know what you're taking away from this video. And again, if this is something that you're interested in diving in deeper and exploring, I've got a coaching program called The Authentic Man where I work with individuals one-on-one, and these are the types of things that we're working on together, on a regular basis. And it's powerful to see what gets created over time. So if that's something that you're interested in, please feel free to reach out, message in the comments. Feel free to send me a private message as well, or I'll also put my email in, and we can just start a conversation, see where you're at, and see where you want to go with this stuff. All right, have a great day. Bye for now.